Welcome everyone to the RTV studios on the campus of Martinsville High School for another edition of Inside Martinsville Basketball here on WREP 15 Sports and the MHS Rewind YouTube channel. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined by Artesian Girls head coach Dave Dorsett. And Coach, we appreciate you taking time to join us.
Appreciate you having us. We appreciate it.
Artesians, a tough game this past week at home against Terre Haute South. Had the lead in the third quarter before the Braves were able to pull away a little bit late in the fourth and get the win. We'll talk with the coach about that contest. We'll talk about their season thus far. We'll look ahead to a couple of the games coming up as well as they battle Roncalli and Brown County coming up in the next couple of weeks. Coach, let's go back to that Tuesday night game, the Terre Haute South contest. And it's kind of been a theme a little bit in these last couple of games with your ball club. You've had strong first quarters, kind of fell off in the second quarter, and teams were able to kind of take advantage. Not really the case on Tuesday night. You guys came out strong in the second quarter, held pretty tough there in that second quarter of play against Terre Haute South and kept that lead pretty close there at the half.
Yeah, we've been working on competing every possession, trying to compete every possession, and we didn't come out the first quarter in the first couple minutes like I thought we would. A little enthusiasm, a little excitement, and maybe a little too much. We missed some easy layups, we missed a couple easy shots there, but then we got things rolling in that second quarter and kept it close. And at halftime, we was able to come out the third quarter and really compete. And you know, our kids work extremely hard, and they've been working extremely hard in practice, and we kind of have taken things and put it in segments. Instead of trying to play 32 minutes, we're going to play 3 minutes or 4 minutes at a time. And it's been working out for us. We've been competing a little bit better, and we're not deep, and that showed a little bit in the Terre Haute South game, especially late. We ran out of gas, I thought, and we used all our fuel in that third quarter to take that 8-9 point lead, and then we got in foul trouble. So we've made some changes. I think we've made leaps and bounds from day one to today. But give credit to these kids for just keep coming back and working hard.
Keep coming back, working hard. That third quarter of play, you talked about it was close there at the half. You guys come out of the third quarter of play and kind of build a 9-point lead. You kind of got things rolling a little bit. Defensively hit some three-pointers and really started to feel pretty good about yourselves in that particular aspect of the contest there in the third.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings up another segment of coaching. Kids that have not had success on the win column, they found themselves with a lead. We called timeout, and you could see the surprised look in their face, and then that becomes another segment of coaching and another segment of playing as a player. They're up 8-9 points, and they're not real sure what do we do from here. And you know, there's two different thought processes there. Do you slow it down and try to contain that lead, or do you keep the foot on the pedal and keep the gas smashed? And that's what we chose to do. Throw the ball away 2 or 3 times. They get some lucky shots. We're in foul trouble already. They get to the free throw line, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a tied-up battle and down the stretch. And that's where I thought we ran out of gas. And it's not about being in shape. It's about being able to give some kids some breaks. And our numbers doesn't allow us to do that. We've got to keep our 5, 6, 7 kids on the floor all the time to be competitive, if you will. And we hope to grow that in the future here, and that's what we're working towards. But we made the comment early in the season that we wasn't sure when we got better where that landed us at, and better today is we're competing, and the kids are understanding that, and give kudos to these kids. They just don't quit. They just keep playing. They keep coming back for practices. They great hearts, great desires. You have your normal hiccups and critiquing of coaching and grumble a little bit, if you will, from the kids from time to time, but we just keep battling, and we're going to keep battling.
Kept battling in that contest, like we said, and got the lead, but Terre Haute South able to just kind of inch away there at the end. They had some young kids as well, but like you said, maybe ran out a little bit of a gas there in that fourth quarter of play, and some shots you were making earlier weren't going down there as well, and South able to kind of pull away and then finally able to get that lead there at the end. Yeah,
and that's that fatigue. We talk about our legs get fatigued, and then the mindset goes, here we go again type of thing. And Terre Haute South, they'd come in there winning 5 or 6 games. Those kids know how to win a little bit. But all in all, we were happy where we were at. We want to get a win for our kids, and we wanted to have some success there on that end of it. But In that particular game, our kids all the way down to the last 9 seconds on the clock, we kept picking up, kept pressing, kept putting pressure on kids, and Terre Haute South just was able to play 8, 9 kids, where we play 5, 6, 7 kids. I think it was a little difference in the game, and I think we just ran out of gas.
When you look at your team, let's go back this season, obviously some of the results, not what you wanted, but maybe expected a little bit coming in. You lose 3 kids that are at the next level playing college basketball. You knew you were going to have some difficulty coming in this season, and also you start off the season with some kids that you're going to count on with some injuries. Mm-hmm. So a lot of stuff going against you, but let's talk about some of those players, some of those kids that you've seen and some of the progress that they've made throughout the year.
Yeah, start off with Holly Gallion. I mean, she has probably one of the worst ankles I've seen get turned, probably as close to a break as possibly could have been there in that Bloomington North game, and she's been out. Really not healthy yet today, 100%, but she's given us 100% of what she can give, and it's getting close. One of our leaders that we thought would do some scoring for us, and she's really starting to roll a little bit, and probably some of our success. Then Macy goes down with the LCL and the MCL strain, and she's out, again, leader, somebody that we're going to depend on in the starting roles, and our starting roles have all changed because we graduated those 3-4 kids last year, and our scoring kids that we graduated last year, Delaney Wolf and Kirsten Willen, obviously, we got to try to replace that. So that's where we thought Holly and Mace would come into play a little bit, and quarter of the year we're without them. So that means somebody else has got to step up that we haven't prepared for that role. And all kids are coming into new roles this year, and a new chemistry and those kinds of things. And then on the flip side of that, our schedule is tough. We've got to face some really good basketball players, and we've got to face some kids that are going to go on and play college basketball. And kudos to them. I mean, that's what they're out there to do. And coaches come in here with really good teams, and we got to compete. And the adversity and the things that we've had to be challenged with this year. Again, my kids just battle through it. I know a lot of teams, a lot of schools, a lot of players that if you didn't score a field goal in a basketball game, you probably wouldn't come back and play the next night. And my gosh, my kids just it didn't even faze them. And that's why I tell everybody, I've got a really good team. I've got a really good team. I've got really good players. And when you individualize them, what Holly and Mace and Marina has been our healthy one, per se, other than maybe a flu bug here or there. And those 3 kids we've leaned on hard, and the next 3 kids as well, Pacey Lewis and Emma Potter. And then I started a freshman that came out of 8th grade from a 2A school. And not that class basketball means much anymore when you're talking individuals, but she comes to us, and I throw her in a mix right off the bat, and she's a starter, and she's doing things at a 4A level that probably, in my opinion, is the most progressed freshman that we've seen on our schedule. And so, individually wise, they've all grouped together. They care about each other. They work together, and we compete. And our compete and our results is on a whole different type of level of what most teams are looking at, that win and loss factor. And we think we've had a really successful year with our kids, and we hope that they've experienced some things here that most players don't have to experience. And we had a really good practice last night. Just came right back, and after the Terre Haute South, no time for hanging your head. We bounced right in, we bounced right out, and we're going to compete again on Saturday against one of the toughest Roncalli teams I think they've had in a long time. And we'll get to the Roncalli Rebels, also your contest against Brown County coming up as well. Let's talk a little bit about the program as a whole. You've got the little lady Arties and all through that, trying to develop. You have to combine, I think, some grade levels down there, a little bit low as well, but trying to develop in some of the things that you're seeing and trying to do really all the way from down the little kids to the middle school up to what you guys have this year. Yeah, a few years back we joined with the YMCA and put our youth program together because I always kind of felt as assistant coach, JV coach, that our youth program was kind of stalling, and it wasn't really going anywhere. And I got with Don Lips at the YMCA, and we put together a package that we work with them instead of butting heads with them. And our youth program is growing. We've got 140 plus kids in our youth program from K through 6. We've got really good people coaching our youth program, and we got some players coming. We've we've had to combine grades, and now we're starting to be able to separate those grades because the numbers are getting a little better, and you know, they're able to go into middle school with some fundamentals and some skills that this bunch that I've got kind of got robbed, if you will, of no youth program, to say the least. When they were coming through, and you know, no fault to coaches, but numbers wasn't there, and players just didn't come out and participate, and it kind of went by the wayside. So we've got that rolling in the right direction, I feel, and building a good foundation. And our middle school kids are competing. Our 8th grade team's 2-0 right now, and they didn't win a game maybe won one game last year, I think, or if they did. And we've got our middle school kids kind of rolling in the right direction. So we got some good things happening, and you know, they're watching. They come watch our varsity kids play, and they realize the effort and the work that's got to be put in to not say the wins and losses are not important, but they also understand that you know, working hard and chemistry and those kinds of things are very important at that young age. And again, our youth program wouldn't be where it's at if it wasn't for good people and some of the parents that's stepped up and trying to help us with that piece. And you know, we're really pleased with where that youth program is going right now.
Trying to develop it is so important at that young age for those kids to get fundamentals. You can learn them at any age, like you talked about, but boy, it's a little bit harder to learn them on a Friday night or on a Tuesday night at 7:30 when you're out there playing against, like you've mentioned, some of the best players. I mean, you haven't even played some of the best teams you're going to play as you're going to roll to Bedford here coming up as well. And but you look at some of those kind of things, and it's really difficult. So important to be able to get some of those fundamentals at a young age, and then be able to just fine-tune and hone those as you become older.
Absolutely, and just the terminology, understanding the terminology from a coach's standpoint to kids, and the fundamentals and the aspects of the game, and how to win, how to lose, you know, those kinds of things. Those kids are getting exposed to. You know, I was able to watch our little 5th and 6th grade teams compete on Saturday, and they got after it, and there was a little shoving, a little pushing, a little aggressiveness but these kids that I've got are trying to do that today, and they're 3 years, 4 years behind going up against some of the best teams in the state. And you mentioned Bedford and some of those at Center Grove that we play. And yeah, it's tough on these kids, and these kids don't want to see what those kids have to go through. So they've participated. They go down and they watch, and we've had some interaction between our varsity and our youth program practices and so forth. So, but you know, just learning those fundamentals at a young age, and then being able to go home and do those things, because we're not going to fix those kids in a 2-3 hour or 2 or 3 month period. So it's a lot of off-season stuff, and change the program.
It is, and like you've mentioned too, and the people kind of understanding that it's a different game, and whether you know it, you've gone through it with your oldest, and Macy also playing some as well, but with Paige and the softball and the commitment that you've got to put in if you're going to play at a certain level. That's for some people, it's not for always, but there are so many kids, so many teams around now that put that effort in, that you've got to learn at a young age to kind of get to there and go do some of those things in order to be able to compete.
Yeah, and it's not so much the travel and go play on these AAU teams and travel all across the country. I mean, kids got to put time in on their own. Individual workouts. You know, our gym, our facilities is one of the best around, in my opinion. We got gym space open. We got weight rooms open. They've got to put the time in to get this program better, and they've got to get in there. And it's not hey, I go play 60 games in the summer.
That helps, but you've got to do the individual stuff.
Absolutely. And we got kids that are starting to buy into that. And I think if I ask my varsity kids that same question, they'd like to go back and put a little more time in. But there again, they've got to have that opportunity to be exposed to that. And we're exposing our youth and our young kids to that. Some of the change is difficult at times, and other times it's not, because you don't weed out anybody. We're trying to keep everybody involved and keep all those kids exposed to it until the time comes that they decide they don't want to play basketball or participate in that basketball program. But I think the time has changed. I think the 3-sport athlete and stuff is still out there and needs to be there for the mental aspect of it. And we want to keep our kids and share our kids and really, really try to boost this basketball program back to where it was at. And, I don't think that we're not where we're at, because if you don't look at our win and loss record, we've got a basketball team that works as hard as anybody, that is engaged all the time with basketball on and off the floor. They represent well, and if anybody deserves a win, this bunch I got right now, they deserve a win. But they've taken it above and beyond what success is, and I'm really happy with that. Not happy with our record by any means, and I don't mean it that way, but I'm really impressed with that varsity bunch that I've got of the comeback feeling, that they just keep coming back, they keep working hard, and that's kudos to our youth program, because if kids are listening and looking and watching, keep that attitude, and you'll have success at some point in time.
You've got a couple of games coming up before the tournament here gets to it. We've got a couple of games before we'll have a show again next week. But Roncalli coming up on Saturday, and then Brown County. This is a Roncalli team Saturday afternoon, a very good Roncalli team, and they're usually pretty good to begin with. And they'll bring a very good ball club into the John R. Wooden Gym on Saturday afternoon. Yeah,
Coach Sams, Jason, good friend of mine. Been a good friend of mine a long time. He played college basketball, coached high school basketball, and he stepped into a really good freshman sophomore bunch, and they're very solid, good discipline, good fundamentals, play hard. It's going to be a tough one for us. It's a tough matchup with us because he brings 8-9 kids that with the depth. But we'll compete, and we'll compete to the level that we can compete at. And again, they can score. We're going to have to really know where people are at all the time, and play as a team to be able to compete in that game. And anything's possible. It's we talk about good teams, great teams, and you watch teams on TV all the time getting knocked off by somebody they're not supposed to. So we'll give them a run for their money the best we can, and we'll bounce back on Monday, and we'll start all over again with that Brown County on Tuesday night.
You look at some of those things. We'll get to Brown County here in just a second, but important for you that you've seen out of this ball club, to things that are going to have to happen, things that are going to have to go well for your kids to maybe give them that chance to be able to knock off something. What are some things you kind of point to and are looking at?
We've been working since Christmas break on hitting shots. I mean, I go back and look at that Terre Haute South game. I watched it twice now. We missed 15 really good looks. We ran our sets really well at times. We got good opportunities, and we just didn't knock them down. We worked on it last night in practice, just really good sets. We're trying to play a little faster in practice, because we don't play that fast in the game, because I think we play on our heels sometimes. We're trying to play on our toes a little more, but we got to knock shots down. We've helped the turnover situation. Before Christmas, we were averaging 25, 30 turnovers a game. You can't do that and compete with anybody. The last 3 games, we've kept it 15 and south of that number. It's be able to handle the turnovers, and it's be able to knock shots down. And we find our kids are in a situation where they've not had those open looks, and now they're seeing those open looks, so we got to overcome that. And we're doing very small steps to try to make this a better basketball team, and try to get them to be able to compete. And if they knock shots down, they've won 4 or 5 games. Right. And we just you got to shoot better than 20%, 25% from the field to be able to compete at the level that we compete at. And we've got to hit shots on Saturday, and we've got to hit shots all the way out through the tournament here to give ourselves a chance to compete, and a possibility, a chance to win.
And handle some of that pressure too that teams
Absolutely.
will come after you. Brown County is going to be a team that coming to town on Tuesday night. What can you expect out of the Eagles on Tuesday?
Coach over there, McKay, she's got them playing really well. She's a first-year coach, played there at Brown County. We watched them this summer a little bit, and she's going to be somebody that's going to make Brown County better. And they've got some depth, they've got some strength, they got some good old farm girls that want to play a little fast pace and rough and physical, and we've got to be able to handle that pressure. I think that we match up with them really well. We're just not as deep as they are, and again, we've got to hit shots, and we expect them to compete with us. And again, you talk class basketball, it doesn't matter. You can be a 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, whatever that is, and they're kids. Doesn't matter what school they go to or what size of school they go to. It's what kind of athletes that they've got. And Brown County will bring a basketball team in here on Tuesday. And because we're Martinsville and we're 20 miles away from each other, they're going to compete with us. And we know that. And we've been working very hard on that to try to compete as best we can. And I'll tell you, my kids are hungry. So we're kind of taking that Martinsville theory and Brown County theory size away from it, and they know what to expect. And I think they knew it against Terre Haute South, and they knew it down at the Yoho Classic what to go expect. And I think we'll be right there where we need to be. We just got to hit shots.
It'll be senior night for you guys.
Absolutely.
Well, you already mentioned the two seniors, but you talked just a little bit about them again. It'll be a special night for you, obviously.
Yeah, it is. I've had Macy and Holly, and of course Mace being my own, I've had her since she could pick a basketball up and a volleyball. Of course, mother takes care of the volleyball side, but. And then Holly, I've had her since 4th, 5th grade, and we've been together, and they've stuck it out with me through the valleys and the hills and the good times and the bad times. And those two kids have worked hard for me. They're gonna be sorely missed in the program and just missed by me individually as a coach. And it's like having two daughters. There's a little sentimental piece there. And as where it's a sad night, it's a bittersweet ending night as well, and kudos to them, and we wish them the best of luck in their careers, and I think both of them have mindsets of what they want to do next. And but for the program, there are going to be two kids that are going to be missed, and it's a very special night for me as well, because like I said, I've had them through basketball since they were little, and I think both of them. They grumble from time to time, but they run through a wall for you, and they've been good leaders for us, and I think the kids look up to them a little bit, and they're going to be missed for sure.
Got a couple of games coming up before we talk next. Like we said, Roncalli on Saturday, and then Tuesday, the senior night at Brown County. Coach, we appreciate you joining us. Good luck in those contests coming up.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Artesian girls head coach Dave Dorsett here inside Martinsville basketball. A little bit of a glimpse at the girls basketball program. We'll have Dave back on here again next week, as well as the Artesians. We'll look ahead to a couple of games as they head towards the end of the season. Get out there, support the Artesians on Saturday afternoon against the Roncalli Rebels. Back out Tuesday night. If you can't make it to the contest, or you got some relatives that want to watch, send them the link to our live stream. You'll be able to help support the Artesians that way as always. We'd like to thank the head coach, Dave Dorsett, for coming in, for Coach Dorsett, along with Luke Cheatham, who produced it back there. I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Martinsville basketball.